Good morning, everyone. In this session, are talking about the classification of aerial photography or the type of aerial photography. So, what is aerial photography? Aerial photography is also called airborne imagery. Is the taking of a photograph from an aircraft or a flying object. Platform for aerial photography includes a fixed wings, aircraft, helicopters, unmanned aerial vehicles, balloons, blimps, dirigibles, rockets, then pigeons, kites, parachutes, standalone telescope, and vehicle mounted poles. These are the types of platforms that use in aerial photography. Mounted cameras may be triggered remotely or automatically. Handheld photographs may be taken by a photographer as well. So, coming into the classification of the type of photography, aerial photography, we can classify all mainly based off 7 or 8 factors that are their position of the camera axis, scale, angular coverage, film used in the camera, then the purpose of the photo, then lens used, altitude, and the camera used, etc. are the different category or different category that we use classification of aerial photography. Coming into the aerial photography, the classification of aerial photography based on the position of the camera axis, we can classify the aerial photography into three, that are there vertical photographs and low oblique photographs, high oblique photographs. Then what is vertical photographs? While taking aerial photographs, two distinct axes are formed from the camera lens center, one towards the ground plane and the other towards the photo plane. And that when we take a aerial photograph from the center of lens, we can have two planes, one of the one plane over the lens center of the lens and the one plane or the ground plane, and we can draw two perpendiculars to the ground plane as well as the photo plane. If we draw a perpendicular from the center of the lens to the photo plane, we call it as camera axis or photographic axis or optical axis. And when we draw a perpendicular or an axis from the center of the lens to the ground, it is called vertical axis. When the photo plane is kept parallel to the ground plane, we can see that the two axes coincide. Now, what is vertical photographs? Vertical photographs is the photograph in which we can see the vertical axis and the camera axis or photographic axis are coincide. In this figure, we can see that there is a photo plane, there is a camera lens, and when we draw a camera, the axis from the center of the camera lens to the photo plane is called camera axis, and the axis which is drawn from the center of lens to the ground level is called vertical axis. In this picture, we can see that the camera axis and the vertical axis are coincide, that they are appear as same axis. And when we take a photograph such that the vertical axis and the camera axis are coinciding each other, then we say that such photographs as vertical photographs. And we can see a example of a vertical photograph on the right side of the screen. Now this is another example of vertical photograph. It is really taken from the vertical point. Now low oblique photographs. And low oblique photographs, in these photographs we can see that the two axes, the camera axis and vertical axis, make an angle 15 degree to 13 degree. They will make an angle up to 50 degree to 30 degree. If the angle between the camera axis and vertical axis are 15 degree to 30 degree, we call it a low oblique photographs. And this kind of photo is often used in reconnaissance service, that is the military services. Then we can see this is a low oblique photograph. That we can see that unlike the vertical photograph, to take low oblique photographs, you tilt the camera axis more than 3 degrees in a manner that the horizon, the area where the earth and sky meet, is not visible on the image. Now the high oblique photographs. In these photographs, the vertical axis and the camera axis make an angle about 30 to 60 degree. The angle between vertical axis and the camera axis will be 30 degree to 60 degree. And this is the 30 to 60 degree, and this is the classification of the vertical, low oblique and high oblique photos. Then optical axis, yeah, less than 3, if the tilt is less than 3 degree, we have vertical image. If the deviation is less than 30 degree, that is from 15 degree to 30 degree, we have low oblique, and if the deviation is more than 30 degree, we have a high oblique. Then coming into characteristics, horizon does not appear in vertical photographs, whereas in low oblique photographs and high oblique photographs we have the horizons. Then the coverage, vertical axis covers vertical photographs covers only small area, while low oblique covers a relatively larger area, and the high oblique covers the largest area in this type of photographs. Then shape of the area, as we see the vertical photograph will capture the image or the area in a square, while the images that form on low oblique and high oblique cameras will be trapezoidal in its size, in its shape. Then the photography scale, in vertical photographs the uniform scale is obtained over all of the portions in the terrain, whereas in low oblique photographs the photography scale decreases from the foreground to the background, as well as high oblique also we can see that the scale is decreased from the foreground to the background of the image. Then the difference in comparison with the map, the difference when we compare with the map, the vertical photograph will have very least, or will have very small difference between a map and a vertical photograph, and low oblique and high oblique will have a greater difference when we compare with a map. Then advantages, we can see the vertical photographs as very much comparable to the map, so they are used in topographical and thematic mapping. And low oblique used in reconnaissance servers, and as well in high oblique we use in illustrate. High oblique photographs are more than or used in illustrative purposes. Now this is high oblique photograph. Now on the basis of the aerial photographs, or the scale, we can, on the basis of the scale of the photograph, we can divide the photograph into three, that is large scale, medium scale and small scale. And when the scale of an aerial photograph is 1 is to 15,000 is called a large scale photograph. When the scale is between 1 is to 15,000 to 1 is to 13,000, 30,000, it is called a medium scale. And where the scale being smaller than 1 is to 30,000, we call the imagery as small scale photograph. Now coming into the classification based on angular coverage, we can classify the images into narrow angle, then normal angle, wide angle and super wide angle. Angle of coverage is less than 20 degree, we have narrow angle. Normal angle we have 50 degree to 75 degree normal angle. Wide angle 85 degree to 95 degree, used for general interpretation and general purpose of photography. The super wide angle, the angle of coverage is more than 110 degree, used for general purpose mapping of flat areas. Now classification based on the film used. First one is black and white panchromatic. This is the most broadly used type of film, a photogrammetric and mapping interpretation. You can see how a black and white panchromatic image will look like. Now coming into the classification based on film, black and white infrared. This is in use in interpretation and intelligence and in hazy environment, as IR can penetrate through the haze. We can see the difference between black and white panchromatic as well as black and white infrared. In hazy environment, we will have a better photograph if we use IR photography. Now the color photograph, as we see that we take from mobile phones and etc., are the color photographs that is used for interpretation and mapping. Now color IR or fast color imagery used for vegetation studies, mostly in vegetation studies, because vegetation studies we have different shades of the red color. The red color will appear more as we see more vegetation. So vegetation will appear in red color. Now panoramas, the classification based on purpose of photo and what we use the photo for. Then first one is the panoramas. These are the wider shots that are created by stitching together several photographs taken at different angles from the same spot or from different spots at the same angle. This is a wide coverage will be there, that we usually take photos of using our mobile phone cameras, the type of panorama photos. Coming to stereo photography, this is actually a range of techniques that are employed in creating 3D images using different photographs of same area taken for the different spots. We just use them together to create the 3D images in stereo photography. Now pictometry. Pictometry is the name of a patented aerial image capturing process that produces imagery showing fronts and sides of buildings and locations on the ground. We use up to 12, we generally more than 5 or up to 12 perspectives at a 40-degree angle, and these perspectives can be then stitched together to create composite area maps. That is, we will have more than 4, usually 5, usually we use 5 rigid mounted cameras. We can have up to 12 cameras which will have low oblique 5 up to 12 low oblique cameras and one vertical camera. We use all the photos to stitch together to form the pictometry image. And what is importance of this is that when we stitch together all the photographs that we obtained from the pictometry, we create a composite area maps that is seemingly span many more areas of the terrain. We can have a large area coverage if we use this type of photography. Now coming into orthophotos, it is an aerial photography that has been geometrically corrected or ortho rectified such that scales of the photograph is uniform. This is for in this photograph, all the scale of all the reliefs that we see in the photograph will be the same. That is usually used for mapping. That is, it is very much there is less difference between map and orthophoto. In this technique, vertical photos are geometrically corrected by removing perspective and adjusting for variations in the terrain. This results in image which can be more closely aligned with the real world coordinates and commonly used for mapping. Now this is the orthophoto. Then classification based on the altitude can be based on the altitude. We can have a low altitude, medium altitude and high altitude. We divide these images by the size of the objects that we see. For this particular shot or the low altitude shot, the resulting image will be show bigger and closer shots of the subject and surrounding. In medium altitude, here the resulting imagery of the subject and the surrounding are smaller than those produced in low altitude vertical aerial photography. In high altitude photography, the images of the subjects and its surroundings produced from high altitude vertical aerial photography are way smaller than those produced from low altitudes and medium altitude vertical aerial photography. Nonetheless, they are able to cover a wide section of the land. This is the low altitude, high altitude and medium altitude. We have taking photograph from different altitudes, and the object size will be different in different altitudes. That is the basis of classification of the aerial photography on the basis of altitude. Now this is a low altitude photography. We can see the objects which higher size. Then high altitude, the small objects. When we get into more medium altitude, the size of the object reduces. Then high altitude, we have a large coverage of area, but we cannot really identify the individual objects in the imagery. Now the classification based on lens system. In based on lens system, we have a single lens system, multi-lens system, time-measurement system. In a single lens system, as the name suggests, it uses a single lens and is commonly used lens system in area photography and interpretation works. In multi-lens, here we make use of 2 or 3 or more images. It is almost obsolete. That is, it is unclear. It is very clear. It is unclear. Still used in war reconnaissance and photography research. So it is obsolete means it has been used before. Used very much before the date. Now it is not used in photography, but still it is used in reconnaissance and photography researchers. This is a very outdated technology. Then time measurement system. It is a system developed to get as much as coverage by preparing maps during the World War II. It is a system of 3 cameras with a time measurement lens and hence 9. This in time measurement air photos, 3 cameras are used simultaneously, amongst which the central camera is held vertically and the other 2 are adjusted oblique positions. The cameras are so fixed that the entire area from right horizon to left horizon is photographed. We can, using time measurement camera from an area, we can take photograph from right horizon to left horizon using 3 cameras. In this system, 2 or 3 vertical cameras are obliquely mounted at a 60-degree angle to vertical. Then this will cover a photograph up to horizon. Some areas may also by cameras which mounted vertically. All cameras are exposed simultaneously. Resulting photograph will cover an area from horizon to horizon in direction perpendicular to the flight. then covers more area but scale becomes smaller towards the horizon. That means when we vertical photograph will have a larger scale, but the horizon, when we look in the left and right side of the imagery, we can see that the scale goes decrease. The vertical photograph 60 percentage of the side lap, whereas the 110 to 30 percentage of side lap between vertical and oblique photographs. Now classification based on the camera used. Based on the camera used, we have different type of classifications on the based on camera. Then in aerial survey, what is important of camera is the movement of camera related to the ground, short expose time, and necessity for bright photography. And camera should fulfill the following requirements: a large relative aperture should be there, should have produced geometrically accurate photos, the lens should be free from aberrations and distortions, etc. So we used different types of cameras from the time when we invented aerial photography, and the technology of the camera is been very much advancing nowadays. See here, there are camera types and specifications. There are wide RC5, wide RC8, wide RC9, wide RC10, says RMKA, then multi-band I squares. Then the type of lens are also used, is given in the table, and angular coverage of each type of cameras, then the focal length of each, then we have picture size, shutter speed, then film length, the number of exposure per length, overlaps in flight direction possible, then short sequence of pictures, and there are certain remarks about the type of camera used. There are lots of types of camera used in photography, in type of photography. So based on photography, we use different type of cameras in based on camera, we use a different type of different types in cameras. Now the reference. Thank you.